Yeah, Robert, I'm not so sure about this video. What did you think about it before I get into it?
Really brilliant stuff. I'm just going to repeat that. Really brilliant stuff.
And what do you actually think of Geoff Buys Cars?
He knows how the automotive industry works. Let's just put it there.
Afternoon. Well, I've been threatening to make this classic car auction value video for days, but this isn't that video. There's a load of building work going on outside my house. The light is all super weird, and I've got parents' evening tonight. So instead of that, let's try something I've never done before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can work out what's going on in the car industry just by looking at the tweet titles. I'm not going to dig into any articles from Autocar, the world's leading motoring magazine and website. So let's do that. Let's just scroll down their Twitter and just have a little look about what's been going on in the world of cars. Right, here we go. From the top, can Polestar's new management finally right the ship? Major problems at Polestar is what we can deduce from that. Fuel prices fell by 6.5 pence last month and are set to continue going down, according to the RAC. So it's actually getting more affordable to run your petrol and diesel car at the moment. Then we're talking about our top 10 hot hatches that have it all. I don't want any of the new hot hatches. I want an old one. I was just thinking just the other day how the Ford Fiesta Zetec S Mark V was one of the favourite family cars that we've ever had. We ran a silver Mark V Zetec S, must have been a 2002, and both myself and Mrs. Geoff drove it everywhere, absolutely flat out. It was a brilliant hot hatch, 1.6 Zetec engine, until the door got ripped off it, but that wasn't my fault, and that's a story for another day. Right, back to Twitter. Review: is the Kia EV6 finally a class leader? We find out. The cost of those EV6s is just insane. Another one here: is 2024's coolest car also a joy to drive? This is the new electrical Renault 5. I just hope it's as small as it should be. And it should be cheap as well. It's probably not going to be that either, is it? Right, another one here. Vauxhall has slashed almost £5,000 off its electric Astra and Corsa as it looks to desperately try and shift some of its EVs that nobody wants to buy. That's not what they said. They say they're looking to make EVs more affordable. If they've taken £5,000 off the price of the electric Astra and Corsa, they're losing even more money. Caterham's upcoming Project V sports car will be powered by a Yamaha motor. That's actually quite exciting, isn't it? Have a small production run Caterham with a motorbike engine. Yeah, I'm pretty up for that. Oh, here's a good one. The UK government must introduce incentives to stimulate private demand for electric cars, says the Ford boss. But that's basically, I said bat then, but batshit crazy is exactly what this is. That is the boss of Ford realising that they've made such a huge mistake with their product line that their cars are not selling, and he's calling on the government to force people to buy the products that he has foolishly built. Look at the Ford range right now. It's ridiculous. Hey, Geoff, it's me, future Geoff again. You know, that Geoff from the future, the guy that turns up when you're doing your editing. Look at this. As you were editing the video, you also realised that it's even worse than you thought. Let me record my screen and show you exactly what cars are currently available from Ford in the UK. Right, are you ready? Let's do this. This is the hybrid and electric section. You can have a Capri or an Explorer, or you can have a Mach-E or a Puma. All of those are 5-door SUVs. Now you can have a new Cougar or a Puma as well. Those are hybrid or plug-in hybrid or mild hybrid. They're also 5-door SUVs. You can, if you like, order a Focus, which is a 5-door hatchback, as a mild hybrid. You can have a Cougar. They've put that in again. 5-door SUV. You can have a van, if you like. £54,000 for a van. Now let's go into the SUVs and crossover section. You can have a Capri or an Explorer. You can have a Mach-E or a Puma. All of those are 5-door SUVs. Or you can have a new Cougar or a Puma. Those two are also 5-door SUVs. You can have a Focus Active, if you like, an Active X, which is a 5-door hatchback done up to look like a 4-wheel drive that's not actually 4-wheel drive. Or you can have a Cougar, which is a 5-door SUV. Let's go into the performance section. You know, the Sierra Cosworth, the Escort Cosworth, all of those performance hot hatches, like the Zetec S that we discussed earlier on. No, you can have a Mach-E GT, or you can have a Mach-E Rally. Those are 5-door SUVs that are electric. And they're £75,000. You can have a Puma ST, which you have to have as a mild hybrid, or a Puma ST. Both of those are 5-door SUVs. You can still have a Focus ST. We found one. Right at the bottom of the Ford website, the Focus ST and the all-new Mustang. Two cars from Ford that we actually want, except I don't really want the Focus ST because all the imagery that goes with the Focus ST kind of thing. So there you go. If you're buying a new Ford, it has to be a Mustang. Thank you, Geoff. Back to you in the studio. So if you want something that's not a 5-door SUV, well, you're moving away from your Ford dealership, aren't you? And the Ford boss thinks the government should force you to have a 5-door SUV. Skoda. Skoda has delayed a key electric car and extended the life of its small combustion models due to the declining EV demand in Europe. Well, that doesn't... in fact, that sounds to me, everything that we've read so far, and we haven't really gone very far into their tweets, everything that we've read so far is the exact opposite of everything that old Crazy Crichton put on the Fully Charred YouTube channel the other day. I don't know if you saw the latest video from the Fully Charged channel. I think he's looking quite mental, don't you?
It's happening, but it's slow and steady.
Like psychopath,
Hoo-ha!
serial killer. There's definitely something going on with that chap. He definitely gets off over the electric car thing.
Definitely not.
But, I mean, we're talking about the fact that Norway are doing very well in, selling lots of electric cars, but all of the money in Norway comes from oil. So what are you going to do about that one? So that's it, yeah. Skoda basically deciding that the EV thing isn't working, so they're going to extend the life of the petrol cars because no one wants the EVs. But at the same time, Skoda is kicking off a new era with the unveiling of the 230-mile, £30,000 Skoda Elrock. Can you smell what Elrock is cooking? That's the smell of lithium and cobalt. Citroën will provide a first look at its new era when it unveils its all-new concept car next week. Is that a new logo from Citroën? That's slightly concerning. And then this is a good one. I like this one. Stellantis' new brand, Leap Motor, will complement sales by Citroën, Fiat, Peugeot and Vauxhall and not cannibalise them, right? So that's the new Leap Motor. You may recognise that as an early Daewoo Matiz, because that's exactly what I see when I look at that. Do you remember the Daewoo Matiz when it first came out? It had that fantastic advert about the fact that it was a cheap 5-door when for all the other brands they were 3 doors, but the Matiz was cool because it was a 5-door. Do you remember that advert? It was a very cool advert. Right, now we're going back to 1931. Autocar looked a bit different. Which cover do you prefer? Well, there's a lot of EVs on the front page of the new one. I do like that look at the styling on that 1931 Autocar cover. Absolutely brilliant when the world was fresh and exciting. And then this isn't fresh and exciting. We're into the Peugeot E408, which has arrived. 281 miles of range. Gunning for the Tesla Model 3 or a Polestar 2. I don't mind the looks of that 408. I do think it's pretty funky and forward-looking, but are people honestly going to buy a Peugeot over a Tesla or a Polestar? I think that tells you all about the problems that they're having at Stellantis. And then there's a review of the Peugeot e-Rifter, which I think that's quite a cool looking thing, but obviously it needs a 2-litre HDI engine, and it's got possibly the worst name of any van ever, the e-Rifter. It's just terrible. Right, head on over to our YouTube channel to watch our review of the Ferrari 12 Cilindri. So they haven't put any EV stuff on their YouTube channel then because they know nobody wants to watch it. And there's another article here about the Skoda Fabia, which is going to stick around until 2030. We've looked at that one already. And then they're repeating the Yamaha stuff as well. More about Ferrari with an 819 horsepower stonking great V12 and Daytona-inspired looks. Not sure about that front end on that Ferrari, but the profile of it is rather beautiful. Oh look, there's the Skoda Elrock again, so they're repeating themselves, and then again in person. Right, Mercedes hatching plans to launch an EV supercar more powerful than the AMG 1. That was the noise of all the people that care. Renault has teased the first images of its Reborn 4, set to be revealed later this month. So not content with giving us a Reborn Renault 5, Renault are proving that they are completely out of ideas other than rehashing vehicles that were once successful, and they're going to give us a Renault 4. But if it has a canvas roof, then I'm in. But I need a 1.2 litre petrol engine, and I don't want any screens inside of it. I want everything to be analogue. Not going to happen. Then we're also on about the e-Rifter again. Stellantis obviously spending a fair bit of money on advertising with Autocar. And then we're back to Ford again. Ford saying they want to halve the VAT on electric cars Otherwise, we're going to miss the 2030 EV target. So is the head of Ford just like camped out outside Downing Street at the moment, desperately trying to come up with schemes to get the government to help him to sell his cars that nobody wants? Then we're talking about the greatest supercars that never made it to production. Aston Martin, what are they saying? Aston Martin's new CEO has reduced its ambitious 2024 sales forecast by 1,000 units. Aston Martin is saying we're not doing quite as well as we thought we were going to be doing, must because the economy's knackered, everybody's skint, and the world seems to be nosediving into a sort of Mad Max oblivion. Alpine has confirmed plans to launch a supercar, and it's expected to be an EV. They've realised that they can't compete in volume manufacturing with selling cars for sensible amounts of money, so they're going to do what everybody else does, which is sell ludicrously expensive vehicles one at a time and make much larger profit margins. Renault, once again, we're talking about the Renault 4. Do you want to bag a crazy saloon with an F1 V10 for just 30 grand? A used guide for looking at the M5 V10. A lot of respect for that car, and I love it in brown, but you've got to be mad to actually want to buy and own a V10 powered anything, really, because problems. But as you know, I only buy cheap Volvos. Again, we're looking at the Mercedes game-changing new supercar set to be faster than the AMG one. Let's just see if there's anybody bothered. No, nobody cares. And then we're looking at the Conti GT. Oh, they've shortened the word Continental to Conti. But the problem is, if you shorten the Continental GT to Conti GT, all I hear is pants for men that like to wee themselves. I suppose that is who buys Bentleys. Other than that, or you can't say that, can you? Traveller, people who pay cash for things. I've got a really funny story about that and a Bentley, but I'm not allowed to tell it. And again, we're back on the Leap Motor C10, which is a larger version of the Day Matiz we discussed earlier. Then we're talking about Frontline. Now, an electric MGB. What are these companies playing at? Frontline are pretty cool. So what Frontline do is they take an MGB and they put Mazda MX-5 running gear on it, and they've been making really cool cars for some time. They're excellent. I think Steve Coogan even owns one. But they've made an electric one to compete with the new electric Cyberster. So they've looked at a car that nobody's going to buy and figured we need to build a car that nobody is also going to buy to compete with the car that nobody... The Cyberster is a £50,000 electric convertible from China. Save yourself some money and go and buy a Mark III Mazda MX-5, because that is the car that will do everything that you will ever want a car to do, apart from have children inside it. I mean, you could probably have children. You could create children inside it, but you can't then carry the children that you've created inside the car. Trust me, I know. I mean, I don't know from trying to make a child inside a Mazda, but I have owned a Mazda MX-5 Mark III, and it was brilliant. I crashed it, actually. I put it under a bus, which is a funny story for another day. Right, then we're looking at purity, performance, and progressive design. Does that accurately sum up the Polestar 4, a car that nobody's going to buy because they've added a development that didn't need developing? Polestar looked at a modern car and thought, what can we do away with there? And they got rid of the rear window. It's just insane. And it makes it look very, very awkward. But who wants to buy a car that doesn't have a rear window? There's basic things that we like a car to have because we've had them on cars for more than 100 years. And I would say a rear window in a car with a roof is one of them. Then we're reviewing the angry-looking Volkswagen Tiguan, which is the one from Cupra, probably, which is a very fast SUV. The two things shouldn't be used in the same sentence. We're back on the Leap Motor again, and then we're into September. So that is... Oh, let's just do that one. Here's our list of used sports cars that should go up in value. Problem is, nothing's going to go up in value if things carry on as they are because of low emission zones and creeping road tax and car insurance. I even had Richard Vobes on the phone this morning moaning that the insurance on his van has gone up £300 or £400, and then he gave me the price that his insurance were going to charge him, and then he texted me later saying they'd actually got it wrong and it was even more. So yes, I don't really see how the classic car industry is going to continue if the car industry itself and the car hobby is under attack from all angles. Then we're talking about McLaren using ex-German Navy commanding officer to boost the quality of its cars. I've been watching JM a lot lately because he does superb videos about what has been going on at McLaren. And then we're looking at a plush new CX-80 7-seater. Mazda's Range Rover. Let's finish with that, because I don't understand why anyone would buy a Range Rover when you can have a Toyota Land Cruiser. I have spent my evenings this week with the fire on downstairs, although it's warm today, thinking, it's winter time. What would I like to be driving this winter? So let me know in the comments. Budget of less than £5,000, and you all know that I'm most likely going to spend at most 2.5. A Range Rover, a BMW X5, a Mercedes S-Class, a Volvo XC70. Let me know your suggestions for a budget winter smoker. It needs heated seats, and it needs to be the kind of car that you sit in for a long road trip and you go, this is nice. The sort of car that can do snow and heavy traffic and rain. What I'm looking for is like a comfy jumper in automotive form for when the days are short and cold. Or I could just get a plane ticket and a Mazda MX-5 Mark III. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video.
He knows how the automotive industry works. Let's just put it there. Really brilliant stuff. I'm just going to repeat that. Really brilliant stuff.